Hi, AO members. Hope you're having a good afternoon or a good morning wherever you are. I just came off another live Facebook group of about 35,000. So happy to switch to the more intimate group here and answer questions from some great entrepreneurs. First question has to do with focus, growth, and where we're going as entrepreneurs. So love these questions. First one's from Kelly. How do I solve the problem of spreading myself out too thin with projects in the construction world? So, this is super important for all entrepreneurs. We want to grow, but also we've got to manage projects or manage our growth. So, in the case of Kelly, he's in the dirt world. So I think civil construction, and right now it's a little bit slow. And as he starts bidding projects, he might spread himself too thin. So he'll need to hire fast. And also there's times when he's going to need to shrink as well. So he's projected to kind of be at the 350,000 in gross earnings. So, and he's doing that hiring to really help him manage those projects, but also deliver as well. So, one issue about spreading yourself too thin is where do you have the biggest impact and who can take away a lot of the work or the worries, right? So to me, one of the first people that I hired was basically the equivalent of a VA, but it was at our office, who would answer the phone and handle new inquiries, right? So that was one thing that was taken off my plate. Cost, I think it was shared office space. I think it was about $500 or $600, right? So for a really small percentage of our annual revenue, I was able to get that help on that front desk and answering the phone. But as you get to the $350,000 level, I'm sure you got costs of equipment and lots of other things. You're able to hire a key person who can take on a lot of the work, right? So thinking of somebody who can take on and take away 60 to 80% of the stresses in the work on a project, right? So maybe not like a full project manager, operator, but an operator who can handle things for 2 to 3 days a week on site, right? You can set them up at the start of the week and they can do most of the work and only have to check in with you 2 to 3 times a day. I'd really look for that key person as you grow, somebody who can take away that 60 to 80%. If you find somebody who can take away 95%, that's great. Pay that extra for them. But if they're not, they've got experience operating a certain amount of equipment or understand your systems in other businesses, make that investment, right? So they can handle most of a project so you can concentrate on bringing in more profitable projects. And that's the thing, when you're bidding on projects, I still think in this day and age, there's more competition for those bids, but also make sure they're profitable, right? Because if a lot of people are bidding on projects, they might not be able to deliver at low margin. So make sure you're really get that profit margin so you can bring in that employee as well. So I hope your hiring goes well. Great to see you kind of approaching that 400, stretching for that 500,000 mark where you can hire 2 to 3 employees and really, really grow and scale. Next question is from Josh. If I want to put a plan together to quit my full-time job and be a full-time business owner, what should I take in consideration? So Josh is a partner in a new company, not a lot of revenue, but I want to put together a plan together with milestones. So once I reach a certain milestone, I can quit. What milestones would you achieve to quit the job and go all in? This is a great question. So to me, this is really about understanding your market, doing your market survey, understanding your sales pipeline, and how you can get to that revenue where you can, jump in with both feet. So how many customers does it take you to earn a certain amount when you pay all your overhead and things? So I remember when I was starting my business, one of the things I did is, I sold a vehicle just to get that $10,000 of cash injection and allow me to work full time for 1 or 2 months, right? So I had already done a market survey and I knew when I called 30 decision makers, I could get 3 customers, right? So 3 customers who are willing to pay that $10,000 to $15,000 price point that I was pricing my service at, right? So do that market survey and figure out how many customers, how long it's going to take you to secure them, so you understand your pipeline to revenue to cover your costs and also your salary. And once you kind of see that delta, and you're like, yeah, I can have 5 business meetings a week that result in 3 customers down the road. So figuring out those sales ratios, I think, is super important, right? And how you're going to reach them. So are you going to use a marketing avenue, direct outreach? How are you going to get those customers in to get you to that profit margin that you're looking at? Super difficult when you're looking at being partners in a company, but have those discussions and tell your business partner, I want to go full time. So that means, I need this type of revenue. We need to get this revenue amount, and I'm going to get paid out at this, right? So plan that out, figure out how many customers, how many outreaches it's going to take, or how many leads you're going to have to take to convert, and when that money is collected, because cash flow is king. When are you going to get paid? Next question is from Ricardo. Is being a barber or owning a barber shop what I should do long term? So Ricardo's owned his shop for 3 years and he's making a living, but he's kind of seen he can only make so much money being made in a shop and as a barber. And what do I think? And if I want to make 10 times as much, do I stay in the industry? Do I transition to another industry like consulting or something else? What would I do if I were you? So to me, one of the biggest goals is to maximize the revenue you've got per X. So once you've got that figured out in your barbershop, right? So, if it's getting more people in the chairs, if it's having more sales per person who comes into your chair, right? Or a higher level, right? So if you can augment a cut with a shave or a cut with selling a product, right? If you can kind of build that machine so you're getting the most revenue and or profit per seat and per barber, I think that's really important before thinking about switching to consulting or getting into another industry. So really focus on how can you better service your existing customers and fill any gaps. I've got a great friend and he's got his barbershop really kind of sorted out. He's got a good social media funnel, and he does post, we're taking walk-ins and stuff, but he's got a pretty good funnel. People can check in online, make appointments. So really trying to fill as many seats so you're making the most amount of profit per chair, or I don't know how your model works, but per X, right? And what can you do to increase that? Like I asked my barber about the products he had on his shelf, and he kind of mentioned them, never mentioned them again. If I was him, I'd be like, okay, take that down. Next time he comes in, we're having a special on X, right? Discount it, right? So if there's a 50% margin on a hair product, discount that by 10, 15%. Get them to buy in, right? Because then I don't know how fast people use to different products. They can come back, right? If you see somebody needs a shave, but they haven't used you before, hey, can I do a shave for you? So work with your barbers to maximize revenue per customer. Make sure that your customers are getting reminders before they leave the shop. Can I make an appointment for your next cut? Fill that chair 3 months down the road, or 1 month down the road, or 2 weeks, right? Some guys, they love a cut every week, right? Is there something you can get a subscription model built in, right? So I really recommend is really concentrate on maximizing revenue at your current shop, and then make a decision. Can I do this at other shops, or can I help other barbers do this, right? So can you start a YouTube channel for barbershops, barbers, right? To be able to maximize their revenue. Can you start, on Instagram, having people follow your best barber cuts, right? Any ways that you can bring in more revenue from other streams, right? So, I buy a hair product, and I remember during COVID, I couldn't buy it anymore, right? But if I got to figure out, I'm going to get that from my barber, I'm going to go see him every month, and every quarter I'm going to buy that product from them. It takes away our stress. So that's my advice. I wouldn't switch industries unless you see a better opportunity, but you might be able to make 25% more from your existing barbershop, and then think, oh, maybe I can do another barbershop on another side of town or in the next community over, right? Or consulting for that industry. I hope that helps. Next question is from Belinda. How do you narrow in on one business to build when at the beginning you might be doing a few, and also know that someday there is even something else that you want to do long term? Yeah, so this is really hard as entrepreneurs. I call it the shiny penny effect, right? So, I've got a business, it brings in 99% of the revenue. The lifetime value of a customer is in the hundreds of thousands. Most sales, or average sales, is about $23,000. So I look at other opportunities and say, here's my biggest revenue opportunity. I love things about it. So I love talking to employers about who they're hiring, sometimes who they're firing as well, but really getting to know businesses, what they do, right? So I've got a passion for it, and we've got some good margins, right? So I'd really concentrate on that. What do you have a bit of a passion for, at least right? I definitely am a fan of dirty jobs, right? Ones that not everybody likes, but you do, right? Because everybody wants to run an airline, have a charter company. Everybody wants to, be a barber, have a restaurant, all these things where they're passion projects. The ones that are a little bit harder, but you still have interest in, not as much competition, and hopefully better margins, right? So finding that kind of sweet spot with the right business. And then how can you scale? One of the things that Belinda mentions is she's got divorce coaching, small business coaching, real estate, right? So in that, how can you scale your time, right? If it's divorce coaching and you're coaching two people, what's the lifetime value of a customer? Some people get divorced multiple times. I'm hopefully not going to be one of those people, but can you then change that into a podcast? Can you start a course? I know somebody who's got a course with over 18,000, a membership site with over 18,000 members, right? Is there ways that you can scale any of this? That is really something that appeals to me, and find the margins as well. Real estate, where is real estate going in the place that you currently live or the place that you want to live, right? I live in a place where the average house is like $1 million, the average house. Somebody's building townhouses, 3-bedroom townhouses, they're going to be like $850 each, right? So real estate in a desirable place is almost always going up. So you can concentrate on it. You can figure out ways to scale, get team members, and make a good business out of that. So what incremental revenue can you build to really kind of succeed? And then how can you leverage what you're doing every day? So me, I'm talking to employers every day. I'm talking to candidates a little bit. I'm like, oh, I can do a YouTube channel because lots of employers need help hiring. Lots of candidates need better jobs. So I can make more revenue doing things related to my business and serving my customers. So I would be careful saying, oh, I'd like to try this new thing. I went and looked at this manufacturing business, and I realized that I would need thousands of customers to make the same amount of revenue and profit I make off of one customer. I'm like, oh, it might be a really great business. I might love it in some sense, but really, do I want to be going after thousands of customers, or 1 to 3 or 5, and still getting the same amount of revenue and profit? So I decided not to buy that business. So think about that in your decision making. How can I make hopefully the most profit, but also have some enjoyable parts to the work that I'm doing? Next question is from Kimberly. What tools and routines can I use to stay ultra focused on my business? So Kimberly has always been a hard worker, a hustler mentality, but now I'm going into one niche with one product. How can I stay focused? What tools or ideas can you share to help me stay very focused on the sales and operations of my new business, as I see tremendous potential? So I definitely recommend, Kimberly, you get the book One Thing. I definitely recommend that you also journal and really focus on your business plan and daily habits to keep you focused on your business, right? So what are the three things that are going to have the most aspect, the most impact on your business? And journal every day, plan out your week. So kind of in that 90-day sprint, I like to say. So in this next 90 days, what are you going to do? So one of the things I want to do is set up appointment setting for a team member to set up appointments for me. So that's my quarterly goal. So I want to process that appointments are set up with decision makers so I can have the biggest impact on my business, right? So right now I can reach out to not every CEO, but a lot of CEOs, a lot of decision makers, and get an appointment with them. Or I can train somebody to do that for me, right? And it's not easy to do, but it's a 90-day goal to train somebody to set that up so I have more impact and I'm more focused on sales and talking to those decision makers. So the way I'm doing that is I've got a 90-day plan. I'm breaking that down into three parts, and then I'm saying, okay, what do I need to do this quarter to get that there? And then I'm writing it in my planner and saying, okay, this week, this is what I'm working on related to getting to that goal, right? So staying focused takes planning. AO's got some great business planning tools, and definitely think you should look at kind of a 90-day planning and your daily and weekly planning to stay focused, because there are so many things that can distract from our focus as entrepreneurs. So hope that's helpful. Definitely you can use your calendar, some digital tools as well, but writing things down really helps. And then having that business plan, that planning session, and really getting focused. Next question is from Lysandra. And what can I do to keep thinking bigger and build a business bigger than myself and my husband? So Lysandra's got a baking business specializing in custom cakes and dessert tables. I'm getting hungry. I'm in the West Coast and I haven't had lunch yet. So it's mostly Lysandra and her husband, and want to grow and build something. I would love to know what you did to build and what you have built and some things that you did to break through the limited mindset beliefs. So one thing I would suggest is find the leaders in your industry nationally who are like crushing it. So I'm sure somebody has got a baking business specializing in custom cakes and dessert tables, and they've got a massive social media presence, and they're doing $1 million in revenue. I don't know that for sure, but I believe it to be true, right? So go and find people who are just crushing it. And if you can't find somebody specifically with desserts and custom cakes, find something close to it. But you should be able to. In the US market, in Canada, there are people in big cities who are crushing it, right? And they're probably also creating multiple revenue streams, right? So I don't know if they have YouTube channels or they have reoccurring revenue models, or they can augment stuff with their current kitchen, but definitely look and learn from those people, right? And definitely that limited mindset belief is, where do I want to go? I want to be $1 million business, and write that down, put it on your mirror, put it in your journal every day, right? Remember where you want to go, and then break that down. How are you going to get there? So if you actually, to get that $1 million business, you're going to have to sell 50,000 cakes. I'm going to have to adjust my vision on how we're going to get that mindset. Maybe I can start coaching people on how to build cakes. Who knows what it is, but having that vision of where you want to go and adding some things on how you're going to get there is super important. And look for those positive people. Those people who are killing it on their Friday shout outs, right? I'm not a huge fan of certain influencers online. I'm a fan of people who have actually really built their business, and there's tons of them who do it quietly. Find out who they are. follow the industry people in your town who have built their business from, they might have started off at 10,000, but now they're at 500,000, right? So find those people, figure out who they are, send them a little cake and say, hey, I'd love to pick your brain on how you grew your business. I mean, I can't imagine a better intro. If you sent me a cake, my wife would love you, and she'd love me again. So you've got a great intro in that. You could even send a picture of your cake if it's somebody further away, right? And you don't want to ship to them. Say, hey, you really inspired me. I'd love to spend 15 minutes with you. Send them a nice card with a picture of one of your amazing cakes. Yeah, love that you've got a business that feeds people, and that you want to grow it. So, yeah, I really hope that helps. Find those people to emulate and learn. Build your marketing, right? So you're building amazing creations every time, and it's not like a bakery where you can open the doors and send that smell wafting, but you can take those pictures, send it off to people. You can get people who are eating your cakes to take a picture and hashtag you. There's so many opportunities to really promote that. Say congratulations to every person who's getting married. Share their wedding photos down the road, right? Promote people, promote those cakes. Yeah, I think you got a great business, and I hope that helps with your mindset and other people as well, right? So look for the true champions locally and nationally, and emulate them and build relationships with them. A nice, true, authentic compliment coming from somebody on the other side of the country or locally that you love how they built their business and would love to, spend 15 minutes with them. I think that would go a long ways, and you can open doors with your cakes and your imagery. So I hope that's helpful. You guys are doing a great job servicing your customers, giving them great haircuts, doing your coaching. So, and hustling. That's the way it should be. I take some inspiration from you, and I hope you're inspired as well.